Welcome back, everybody. This is Pucks from the Pine Tree Pod. I'm your host, Benjamin Kennedy. Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend out there. Happy Sunday. Happy week 2 of NFL football as well. So, hope everybody's enjoyed the weekend. I've been happily enjoying the time with my little boy over the past few days. So, he's back home with mama tonight. So, have a chance to get in front of you all fine people here on the interwebs. And we are going to talk about the Minnesota Wild. An interesting team that, of course, missed the playoffs a year ago, and dealing with some different cap constraints. But yeah, let's dive into it, guys. Start by talking about head coach John Hines, who was brought in last season as a replacement to the fired Dean Evison. He has coached in a total of 665 games. That's between New Jersey, Nashville, and Minnesota. Has a 318, 279, 68 record. That's good for 478 winning percentage. 19 games coached in the playoffs. Not so great. 415 record there. So looking at the last couple of seasons, though, where he coached in Nashville, he had winning percentages of 592 and 561, along with a 579 last year during that last bit that he was in Minnesota. So those recent numbers kind of tell you he's outperformed kind of his overall record over those years. Um, so be curious to see what he can do now with a full season in Minnesota, with a full off season, full preseason, all that kind of stuff. That will be quite curious. Reference cap issues with this club. They do have some pretty significant buyouts they're still working with, but as of today, per Puckpedia, they have $756,410 available under the salary cap. They do have a full active roster. The buyouts we're talking about go back to Zach Parisi and Ryan Suter, both hitting at a 7,371,795 apiece. Cap it, that's well over $14 million per season. This is, I believe, the last season of that hit. That number will drop drastically next season to a little over 800,000 per player. So they'll go from 14.7 million down to like 1.6 and change for I think a couple more years after that. So it's been debilitating for Garen, the GM, and the team to do much, in the free agency and to kind of drastically change this team over these last kind of few seasons. Strategic move they made a few years ago. They knew what they were getting into. So here we are. If you're a Wild fan. Uh, First round picks from last season or from this past June, they did have number 12 overall. And apologize ahead of time. I'm probably going to butcher this name. Zeev Bayam or Buyam. He's an 18-year-old defenseman, played at the University of Denver, NCAA champion, University of Denver team last season, played in 42 games, had 11 goals, 39 assists for 50 points. So over a point per game player, and NCAA champion. So overall, I think quite a good pick there for the club. We look at last season, guys, 39, 33, and 10 record with 87 points. That was good for sixth in the Central Division. They missed the playoffs by 11 points. So they were, good enough to hang around there for a little while, but ultimately, last week of the season, they just really weren't close at all. They weren't really a player right down the stretch. Team stats, kind of a mishmash. I was trying to find some sort of theme in their numbers, but kind of hard to say. It looks like a sixth place team, when you look at their numbers. Their goals for, they were 3.02, which was good for 21st in the league. Goals against 3.17, good for 20th. That left them at a minus 12 in goal differential for the season. So, yeah, kind of that middling type of team, right? Power play, they were actually pretty decent. They were 10th in the league at 22.7, but 30th in the league in the PK at 74.5%. So pretty decent. The man up, really bad a man down. And face-off circle, they were close to the bottom of the league at a 47.3%, good for 26th in the league. Of course, skaters, a lot of very familiar names if you're a hockey fan. Kirill Kaprizov, really their top uh, star forward there, played 75 games, had 46 goals, 50 assists. I could talk for 96 points. So really good, strong year out of him. Forward Matt Boldy played in 75 games, had 29 goals, 40 assists for 69 points. That's his highest points in his career, in his short career so far. I think there's a lot more upward trajectory for Boldy. Forward Joel Eriksson Ek played in 77 games, had 30 goals, 34 assists for 64 points. And this is his first season with the 30 goals under his belt. So good on Eriksson Ek there. Veteran Matt Zuccarello, forward, played in 69 games, had 12 goals, 51 assists for 63 points. And rookie Brock Faber, defenseman, played the whole season, 82 games, 8 goals, 39 assists for 47 points, and was a Calder finalist. Did lose out to, of course, Connor Bedard. So great season for him. He'll be another real curious one to watch as we get into the coming season. Goaltending. Future Hall of Famer Marc Andre Fleury, Flower, played in 40 games last year, had a record of 17, 15, and 5, 2.98 goals against, and an 895 save percentage. Philip Gustafson, played in 45 games, a 20, 18, and 4 record, 3.06 goals against, and an 899 save percentage. And then the young Jesper Wallstedt did get into 3 games, had a 2-1 record, 3.01 goals against, and an 897 save percentage. He was a 2021 first round draft pick of the club, and by all accounts, may be the heir apparent, long term option there in net, as we get to after the next few seasons. Some additions. They, despite their their cap situation, they did make a few additions this year. Making a trade that brought over Jacob Lauko from Boston, forward, kind of hard hitting forward. Yakov Trenin comes over from Nashville. Forward Travis Boyd comes over from Arizona, now Utah. Forward Graham Clark comes over from the Devils. Defenseman Declan Chisholm comes over from Winnipeg, and forward Reese Johnson joins the team from Chicago. Departures, going out the door, forward Vinny Lettieri, part of that Lauco trade. He goes off to Boston, and then forward Adam Beckman out the door as well. Um, this was a 103-point team, had a playoff team back in 22-23. So you've seen a 16-point drop, roughly an 8-win drop year over year. And this division just got a whole lot deeper and a whole lot tougher in the offseason. Um, Not going to be a fun division to play through if you're the Minnesota Wild. While they did make some of these moves in the summer that we just highlighted, they were moves that were on the cheap. The buyouts are continuing to limit what they can do in free agency, which means this roster will largely look similar going into this season. Next summer, when the buyout number drops, I'm guessing that the club will look a lot different. I think they'll be quite aggressive out there. They'll finally have some money to spend, and I imagine they'll be adding to this group. In all honesty, though, I really don't have a great read, on this team. They have some guys that you like. They have some guys that can score. They have some good veterans on the blue line that know how to play the game, along with that rookie Brock Faber, who I think is really exciting. Guys like Matt Boldy, who I think are quite exciting. Um, Seeing how both Faber and Boldy, follow up their years from a year ago will be something to keep an eye on this year. But yeah, quite honestly, I don't have a great read on where I think this team is going to land. Um, and just kind of their roster construction, they just kind of, I still think that kind of middling type of team that they were a year ago. As for goaltending, I do think most likely this is the last year for future Hall of Famer Fleury. I'll be curious to see how many games he gets, and kind of how they choose to play him. It's also going to be curious how they choose to play the 2021 first rounder there in Wallstead. See, get a significant look in Minnesota? Does he end up in the American League? Not really sure there. Gustafson is there. He played over 50% of the games last year. I imagine he'll get a bulk of the work this coming year as well. And if that's the case, and if you're a Minnesota fan, you just want to see his numbers improve just a little bit. Get that goals against under 3, get the save percentage over 900. Then you're feeling okay. You're feeling a little bit better about things as you move forward. Like I said, I kind of feel like this is just kind of another middle of the pack type of team in the Central. I don't see them surpassing Dallas. I don't see them surpassing Colorado, Nashville, or Winnipeg for that matter. And I believe teams like St. Louis, teams like Utah are going to be hanging right around that same space as the Wild will be. So where does that leave them? I'm really hard pressed to see this team, this roster, earning a playoff spot this season, despite having a scoring stud like a Kaprizov and having some of these young stars that we've talked about. Um, Kind of look at this as like a bridge year for the club. Just, again, knowing what's going to happen with their salary cap next year, with those buyouts kind of dropping off, and the salary cap probably going up again too. So that should leave a good bit more money for them to work with. And I do think that roster is going to look a lot different next year, and probably more ready to challenge in this very, very tough Central Division. So, fortunately, Wild fan, I do think you're out in the woods, out in the wild, wild woods with with the Eds there in Fangorn Forest. Sorry, but I do think you have some building blocks in that system. I like the young goaltender, of course. Who doesn't like Brock Faber and Boldy and Kaprizov? Still, a younger guy and a star in this league. So you've got some bones to build from. You just got to be a little patient. Let that money kind of come off the books. And who knows? I mean, there's always a couple surprises, year in and year out. When we look at the playoffs, we all think we have it nailed in October, but you get into April, May, it's like I didn't see that team doing it. And Minnesota, they again enough there where hey, maybe they can earn one of those wild cards. Maybe they surprise us. And if I'm eating my words come April on this one, I won't be sad about it. Won't be sad about it at all. So good luck to the Minnesota Wild. See how it goes. A little bit of news coming out today. Looks like James Van Riemsdyk, former Boston Bruin, is off to Columbus, signing a contract, I believe, today for 900,000. So he was one of the last remaining kind of bigger name free agents that was out there. We kind of wondering if he was going to get work, this late into September. But happy to see him still in the league. Was kind of wondering if Boston would kick the tires on him again. I think once Boston picked up Tyler Johnson on the PTO, I kind of wrote the book, on JVR's time in Boston. So good luck to him off to Columbus and what's going to be a very, I think, trying and challenging year for the Blue Jackets with everything that they're dealing with the just the tragic loss of Johnny Gaudreau, and um, that's going to be an emotional ride. I think all year for the club, and JVR, of course, coming in brand new. See how that goes. We also know that the Prospect Challenge has been ongoing out in Buffalo this weekend. The Bruins, young pups have been out there. Did lose to Pittsburgh and Columbus on Friday and Saturday. Quite honestly, I've been watching football today, so I'm not actually sure if they played today or what's going on there. But be some news coming on that. If you're interested to learn more about that, go check out blackandgoldhockey.com. We've got some great writers who are covering the weekend out there, and they'll be able to catch you all up on all the news from the Prospect Challenge. And to that point, it was just 3 days ago, I was a guest host on the Black and Gold podcast live stream with Mark Alred and other members from the B&G production family. You can check out that recording on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. I'll leave the YouTube link here on the video so y'all can go check that out. Was a heck of a good time, a lot of fun. So big thank you to Mark and the team for that invite. I hope to be able to do it again as the season goes on and as my schedule allows. And then tomorrow, I am going to be recording my interview with Maine Mariners owner Dexter Payne. That's going to be available on Tuesday at the Mariners Hockey Report channel. That's also on the Black and Gold Productions YouTube channel, I should say. And the show is called Mariners Hockey Report. That will be, of course, available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple as well. So thank you for all the support there, and go check that out. Tuesday night should be airing around 6 o'clock Eastern. So thank you all for tuning in tonight. Hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. We do have the Detroit Red Wings up next, and we will hopefully have that out to you all very, very soon. So if you do like what you're hearing, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. And until next time, be kind, show love, and God bless.